If you're a fan of Iron Maiden, this video is for you. So another thing that I hadn't heard about that you brought to my attention that was kind of interesting was what's happening with Iron Maiden and their plane.
Yeah. It's, you can own a piece of their infamous Boeing 747.
So I looked it up on CNN. I found this little article. I'm going to read a couple of things because this is an interesting thing to talk about. By the way, I think most Iron Maiden fans already know this, but Bruce Dickinson's the pilot.
Yeah.
And did you ever read What Does This Button Do? Bruce Dickinson's autobiography.
No. I've not read it.
Okay. If you haven't read the book, if you haven't, go listen to it. Get it on Audible and listen to What Does This Button Do. If you haven't heard it, you should bust it. Because not only is it an entertaining book, but he reads it.
Oh, it's cool.
And he's just
I like when they do that.
And he's so. Bruce Dickinson is such an entertaining guy. He's just
Nice.
an interesting, funny, and the book is kind of funny. So anyway, it's really worth the read. It's fascinating. He even talks a little bit about this kind of Renaissance man part of his personality, which
Nice.
loves flight. Iron Maiden's plane has been cut into pieces and put up for sale. And there's a picture of the 747 right there. So this is CNN. This is on CNN's website. English heavy metal band Iron Maiden once sang, "Bring your daughters to the slaughter." But when it comes to dismantling the band's Boeing 747-400 tour plane, it's a little more complicated. German company Aviation Tag, which specializes in upcycling scrapped airplanes, has created a limited run of one-of-a-kind tags made from the fuselage of Ed Force One, the moniker given the plane that served the band on its 2016 Book of Souls World Tour. And basically what it is, you can actually see a picture of it down here. There are these little like key tag kind of things.
Yeah.
You know, and they just make it out of a piece of the plane. It's so strange. The first time I ever saw something like this done, I have a friend named Sean that's a big U2 fan. And after one of their tours, they basically took the stage, chopped it up in 10 million little pieces, and then you could buy a piece of the stage.
Yeah, I think like Yankee Stadium, when they tore it down, you could buy a piece of like the field, the old Yankee Stadium.
You know,
it was like something like that.
It's so interesting, just the whole idea that they're doing that stuff. And matter of fact, my brother-in-law bought like a chair from the old Mile High Stadium.
Oh, yeah. You can get the seats.
Wild.
Sit on that in your living room.
Okay, so continuing, it says the Tailfin was decorated with the image of Edgy, Iron Maiden's zombie-like mascot, but it's now the plane's turn to be dismembered and then resurrected. Each tag, which can be used as a keychain or simply as a collector's item, is made from the plane's white fuselage. You know, as a collector's item. My grandkids, when they wear their backpacks to school, one of the things that they love to do is get little things to hang on.
Yeah, that's kind of in.
I could get them
the Iron Maiden fuselage. Thanks, Grandpa.
Exactly. Like, what is this? Okay.
You'll be the coolest kid in school.
Exactly. To create color variations, we also incorporated material from the blue Tailfin, which had up to 9 layers of paint applied over time. Avion Tag's chief commercial officer, Tobias Richter, tells CNN. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Then they're sized around 1.5 by 3.5 inches and retail at, get this, 66.66 pounds.
Euros.
Obviously. Is it? Oh, yeah, it is. It's euros.
Yeah, pounds.
66.66
British
euros.
sterling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around $73 on Aviation Tag's website. Man, I can't get that right.
Aviation Tag, all one word.
Yes. The price point, of course, is a nod to 666 and the Iron Maiden hit The Number of the Beast. Yeah, because ever since that album, Number of the Beast, everything had to have some reference to 666.
Cool. Yeah, I mean,
which is just
all the tie-ins.
Funny.
Hey, I mean, trying to make the world a greener place, I guess. So recycling, that's kind of a great idea. And it's kind of, I mean, would you get I mean, who else had planes? Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
right? Like, when you're big enough and you have your own plane,
Especially a plane like that.
right?
I mean, a 747 is a monster airplane.
Right. The
So-
Bruce flew.
The Bruce flew.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
No, it is really cool, and he was basically he was flying the band around.
Yeah, I mean, think
It's
about
fascinating.
And I think the other thing that I've seen in the news as of late is it's going to be their 50th anniversary, and they're doing like a super special, deep, awesome. I don't know if it's going to be on Netflix, but somebody's putting up like a lot of resources to have something awesome to chronicle like their 50 years, and from just different like news sources that I've kind of read, it seems like it's going to be pretty awesome. So I don't think, I mean, they kind of do things at a high level when they do something, and so I think this is going to be on that level.
Yeah, they're such an amazing band, and they have this. They're one of those groups that has, even though they're really, really well known, they do have this very dedicated
Oh, for sure.
fan base. It's a little bit like Rush. You know, they're this band that has all these songs that a lot of people know, and they're very famous, but they also have this core, and like kind of like Rush does, where they're still huge, and you're getting played on the radio, and everybody knows who they are, but they have this. They have the fans, like Rush has the fans that have seen them 50 times.
Yeah, so does Maiden. Right.
And Maiden has that kind of fan base.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that kind of cool that you have artists that have that like dedicated fan base that I've seen, I mean, like the Deadheads, right? That would follow them around.
Oh, yeah. They were like the epitome of a band that just had that cult following that just followed them around the world.
I don't know if people, and maybe you guys can tell me. I mean, did you follow Iron Maiden around the U.S. tour or a European tour and checked out show after show? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, that
wouldn't surprise me either. With them, I would never imagine people driving. I mean, like the Dead. Because when the Dead used to come to like Denver, for example, they'd go to Morrison, and it was just like the town was taken over for 3 days, and then it was empty. And that was just every year you'd have the thing. And I don't know, the Iron Maiden never had anything like, but they would have. I mean, like Rush would have that stuff. People would literally, we're going to catch like 10 shows on this particular tour, and they'd go to a different town, road trip, go catch all the things. So anyway,
well, Maiden fans, I just found it absolutely fascinating that a rock band with their own specific plane is now you can own it. You can own a piece of the plane. How cool is that?
That is very cool. Yep, and
kind of and one of the cool things that caught my eye is that it transcends, just us talking about it amongst ourselves. It was on CNN. It's global news agency. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
But dude, isn't it? Look, I'm going to say one last thing because we don't need to spend a ton of time talking about this. Rewind back that 50 years or 40 years, and you could have never seen this coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where because all of us kids who were listening to it back then, and it was all this edgy music, and it was the kids' music, and they were scaring the parents and all this other stuff.
Right.
Now we're not just the parents. We're the grandparents, and this is
from teens to jobs with money,
and now all these guys that were the rock stars that were 7-8 years older than us, they're still 7-8 years older than us, but we're all in totally separate, and all the people that were Iron Maiden fans are now the executives at the news agencies, and that's the thing. It's like as the guard changes. Yeah. That all this stuff that used to be edgy is now kind of nostalgic and normal, and it's just that part of it always fascinates me. How these things follow us.
Yeah, hardcore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about people out there touring now, like Steve Miller, and I know the Eagles are going to do a residency at the Sphere in Vegas.
Really? Okay,
yeah,
I didn't
coming
know
up.
that.
It's like, okay. I mean, Eagles, huge band. Steve Miller, the Joker. I guess they're going to still continue to tour. I mean, there's not somebody I go out to go see. But as long as people are showing up, might as well, right? And so, I mean, you see bands like even, I just saw somebody from like the 60s and, and somebody from the 80s, like the Yeahs. And, I mean, they haven't played live in 20-something years. What are you doing? But then, the Kingston Trio or something like the Monkees practically. I know it's not the Monkees, but, I mean, bands from that era are still playing like casinos and crap. Not on the Vegas Strip, but it's like some offbeat, but they're playing. And people are checking them out. I think Grand Funk Railroad's going to be here in town.
Oh, that's right. They are. They're playing at Tuacahn.
Yeah.
I saw an ad for that.
Yeah. I was like,
gosh,
what?
yes, because they actually do dip, I think, slightly back into the 60s, like barely. But
who's going to that show?
Yeah.
Like, how many people? I mean, that's if, we know Tuacahn because we live here, and it's like an outdoor amphitheater that's freaking amazing.
It's really cool.
Similar to Red Rocks that you grew up with in Denver, right? But I saw Led Zeppelin America there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. It was like a cover band of Led Zeppelin, and they did really good covering all their stuff. Grand Funk Railroad. Like, do they even have an original member in there? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think so. Mark Farner's not in there for sure. I'm not sure about Mel Shocker, but the drummer Don Brewer. Don Brewer is still in the band. I think I don't know about Mel Shocker. He was the bass player.
Yeah, because I thought Bruce Kulick was playing with them.
Originally, it was a 3-piece band that had Mark Farner, Mel Shocker, and Don Brewer. And Mark and Don were both singers. Mel was the bass player. Then they became a 4-piece band, and that was when they did the album American Band. But they when they were hot, it was the 3-piece. Now they're a 4-piece, and they had Bruce Kulick was in it for a while. I don't think he's doing it anymore.
I don't think he's doing it. If not,
but I'm pretty sure Don Brewer's still in there.
Cool.
I don't know about the other. But yeah, so he'd be the original member if there is one.
Yeah,
and so he's the one that sang American Band, by the way. We're an American Band. That was him.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, but what I'm saying is like Grand Funk. Like I guess my point in a long roundabout way is I tend to do these kinds of things sometimes. Is my train of thought is, okay, Iron Maiden fans, Rush fans, they're following them, right? They have this core fan base. Somehow I feel Grand Funk Railroad does not have that core fan base that follows them around, or the Monkees, or Yeahs, or whoever, I was mentioning. Like, what are you doing?
I think for sure Grand Funk does not have that. And also keeping in mind that they were from a generation before the ones we're even talking about.
I know.
So that was a totally different, and that's actually a really interesting thing because and that'll be for another video. But it'd be interesting to talk about how some of these bands have those core followings.
Yeah, for sure.
And some of them just never had that.
That'd be good for listeners or people watching to kind of chime in and. Bands that have that super dedicated following, right? That'd be
because
really
Iron Maiden it is true. Because even as they got further into their career, there were a lot of people that just stayed with them, and they'll say, I didn't care much from this point to this point, but I love this, but they just stayed with them the whole time. Rush was another one of those. Once we got past this, I didn't like this phase, but then I kind of picked back up on them here.
Right.
And you go,
I'm
but all
definitely
through
in that category.
They're going to the shows. They're still going. I mean, and I was one of those that I think one of the times, at least once, if not a couple of times I saw them, I wasn't even sure what album they were touring on. I mean, because I wasn't even, but I'm like, oh, it's Rush. I gotta go. I mean, I'm not going to miss that.
Right.
And so, do they have a new album out? I mean, I'm one of those, not the 40-time concert person, but I am one of those that it's like, dude,
gotta go see him.
Gotta go see Rush. So.
Well, hey, if you want a Iron Maiden keychain, tag, souvenir, you can have it.
You can have it. A piece of Ed Force One.
Aviation tag.
Yes.
.com, I guess.
All right, and today's news brought to you by. It's our little news
Yes.
segment. Here's our new. This was our today's news segment. Hey, thanks for following the channel.
Appreciate it.
Please like the video, share it with everybody. Anybody that may not know about this stuff or just wants to hear a couple old guys talk about it. And leave your comments, like the video, and there you go. And so anyway, thanks and have yourself a fantastic day.